Horus the Younger was born in the Nile Delta and felt comfortable there, perhaps because his dead father Osiris was god of the surrounding thick papyrus. The tiny boy jumped happily along the backs of hippopotami. He grasped the tails of crocodiles and swished them through the waters, laughing. He wove boats from papyrus reeds and paddled under flapping, funny-looking pelicans. He invited swamp cats to sleep with him on papyrus matting in the daytime, for like those cats, he preferred to be active at night. There was a reason for this. Life was full of mysteries. He looked around. He convinced the goddess Nephthys to teach him to see in the dark. That way he could defend against what he knew not, but this ability was crucial. Horus thought of his vision in historic terms. The eye of Horus looked out over the vast maw of the world with knife-edged ferocity. He fashioned hunting tools, spears, boomerangs, bows and arrows, but the idea of defense and maybe even offense lurked persistently in his mind. In a sense, the boy had two mothers. One was a wary-eyed Isis, who taught him the rules by which a society runs well, laws his father had given the people. She told him, mysteriously, that he'd need to know these things. The other mother was the sad-eyed Nephthys, aunt and nursemaid. She taught him how to take the form of a falcon, while she became a kite. They swooped over desert and glided on air currents, searching mysteriously. Between the two mothers, the working of the entire cosmos were cloaked in opaque dread. Once Horus grew to adulthood, he learned the nature of that dread. His uncle Set hated him, simply because he was his father's son. Set had usurped his father's throne. Now Isis wanted Horus to claim it back. Horus challenged Set valiantly, demanding his due. Set refused, of course. So Horus appealed to the gods' council, the Pasejet. The god Thoth urged the Pasejet to favor Horus. But Set argued that he protected Egypt from foreign enemies. If he were dethroned, Egypt would return to chaos. So the Pasejet looked like it might find in favor of Set. Isis thought she'd lose her mind. She transformed herself into a ravishingly beautiful maiden. The disguised Isis told Set that she was a widow, and a stranger had seized her land and threatened her son. She asked for his aid. Anyone in his right mind would have seen how this maiden's story matched that of Isis's. But Set wasn't in his right mind. The maiden was luscious, and he was hot-blooded. Blind to the trap, he declared this usurper to be a villain. He swore to fight him and return to the sun what was rightfully his. Aha! Isis revealed her true identity. Aha! The whole Pasejet listened. Aha! Aha! Set would have to yield now. He had admitted his guilt. But Set didn't. Battles ensued and persisted for 80 years. Set used brute force in unspeakable ways, including plucking out Horus's eyes, which the goddess Hathor, the very eye of Ra, restored by pouring the milk of the starry Milky Way across his brow. Horus used crass trickery. Once he agreed to a boat duel with Set. Both were to use stone boats and try to sink each other. Set's stone boat sank immediately, but Horus's boat was cedar, painted to appear as stone, so it whipped along until Set, in a rage, turned into a hippo and sank it. There was nothing too low for these gods to stoop to. At long last, Ra sent a message to Osiris in the underworld Duat, beseeching him to end the struggle. Osiris sent a return message. The Pasejet agreed that Horus deserved the throne. Set yielded. And so Horus wore the red and white crown and ruled all of Egypt. People looked to him for guidance in hunting and martial arts, for he had avenged his father against the most frightening of gods, Set. Avenged his father. Horus didn't know his father. He only knew Osiris's story. Now he wanted a filial tie. So he became the link between the world of the living and Duat, accompanying the dead to Osiris. Father and son worked together. It felt good. Finally, the sense of dread that Horus had carried almost all his life dissipated.